So, shock horror, where am I? I am in Starbucks in Antigua. Who would have thought that I would ever be going into a Starbucks? But I've heard about this Starbucks and I'll show you why I've come. Hi there and welcome. And yes, I'm back in Antigua. Those who have been following my channel will know that I've been to Antigua before, and it's just one of the places that I fell in love with in Central America. So in this video, I'll be spending more time in Guatemala, but I'll also be going into other Central American countries. So stick around, enjoy the channel, enjoy sharing my travels with you. That's pretty cool, right? And then how relaxing is this? It's such a beautiful morning and it's so clear out there and it's my last day in Antigua. I thought I'd come into the church and go up to the bell tower. So come on, let's go and have a look and see what we can see. Such a beautiful day. It's so beautiful up here. Not quite sure at this stage how I'm going to get up to that bell tower. That's the one over there. So I'm pretty sure I've seen people up there, but maybe the doors aren't unlocked yet. Apparently I was a little bit early. We hadn't unlocked the gates. You've got to come early, otherwise the haze kicks over. Oh wow, that is fantastic. It's so clear this morning. Couldn't have got it better. So beautiful here first thing this morning. There's just one other couple enjoying the solitude. It's really rather nice. Oh man, it sure was worth getting up early and climbing all those stairs to get this amazing view. And so spoiled because many other days it had been quite cloudy. Well, I've just said goodbye to most of the people on my last trip. There's still two couples who are continuing. They're from when I joined the trip in Playa del Carmen in southern Mexico. So I've got a free day again till 6 o'clock tonight when I meet the rest of my next step in my Intrepid trip. So I'm just wandering around and I'm still discovering new things, even though I've spent, well, 3 or 4 days, can't quite remember how many days in Antigua coming back and forth. So have a look at what I've just found. Look at that! How amazing, it's beautiful. And the sign out the front said bibliothèque. So I'm not quite sure, but I'm thinking it was a church. Well, it's amazing when you poke your head in a corner and they say you can go in and you find out it's actually a gallery. Who would have known that that old building I was just looking at had this inside? It's wonderful. So all the pieces of art in this room are actually in relation to the musical instrument, the marimba, which was introduced here in about the 1500s. And it was taken on board with the Mayan, and they've used that as their musical instrument ever since. So, one our previous leader told us about a butterfly farm, and he said there's a restaurant near there. And I had a look, and it was sort of a couple of K out of, you know, the hub of Antigua. And I thought, oh, is it too far? And I thought, no, I'll just walk there. And so that's what I'm doing right now. But it's actually quite fun getting out of that hub of Antigua where all the tourists are and walking down much more local streets, really enjoying it. And you can see it's quite different here. So I found my way to the butterfly restaurant, that's what I'll call it. And look what I've also found right behind me, a huge big mulberry tree. I don't think they're ripe though. Well, I just had the most delicious green smoothie at this cafe, restaurant, garden place that I've been to, and now I'm wandering around. So it's just amazing. It's delightful. Like, they've got veggie gardens, they've got animals, they've got the butterflies, and they've got ornamental plants as well. It's just so for many reasons, the convent of the Capuchinas was unique. It was, the design was unique, the only one in any of the Americas. The nuns had separates, and they called them cells, and they actually did have a toilet, which was unique for the early 1700s. A bit unclear whether this was built in the 1700s or the 1500s, reading the information. I'll try and investigate and just put the actual date that it was built up here, or the actual year. So lots of small rooms. It was also the way it was built. The rooms could be watched to ensure that the code of silence and all the other rules were being followed. Wow, that's quite dramatic, isn't it? And as I walk down here, it's quite clear that this used to go a lot further. This has all been bricked in, and I'd say definitely some years ago. And then when I turn around, there's a balcony above where I first took the footage of this room. So I've come up in that mezzanine floor from the huge room. I'm just above it now. Wow, it really is a labyrinth of entries and exits. It reminds me of the castle that I went to in Stirling. And if you haven't watched that video, go back, because that was a real labyrinth as well. So there's all the cells. How cool is that? Let's go and check out how big they are. Yeah, not very big at all. But they did have a window. And probably the view hasn't changed all that much. So at a glance, these cells all look the same, but they're not the same, because this one's only got one little gap there, and what I think is a toilet's on that size. Oh yes, latrine. And this one is a bit bigger, and has a lower window, and a cupboard. Outside all those cells. It's very cool, and they're doing it up beautifully. Well, that was really worth the 40 quetzal, or $8 definitely. I've just spent, I don't know, a good hour wandering around. It was so interesting. So yeah, if you're in Antigua, definitely come to the convent of the Campechinas. So I've come into a museum that I actually noticed on my first day in Antigua. And I've always intended coming back. It's already 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so I've only got an hour here, which will probably be enough. But I'm leaving Antigua tomorrow, so it's just as well I've come now. I've sort of left it quite late in the day. But this one is called Promenade of Museums. So I think it's a bit of variety, and I'll share it with you as I have a look. So this is a fairly old piece that's displayed here. It's between 600 and 900 AD. So while I've been travelling in Guatemala, a few of the guides have mentioned the book Popol Vuh, or Popol Vuh, and it's good that it's referred to here as well, and I'm going to see if I can find that book. And also I should mention that it's great to have these signs in English and in Spanish. So this area, or this museum, is way more than I first thought. I just thought it was some shops, but it's all the old buildings and the old church and the remains. And they're working like Trojans here, just restoring it all. You can probably hear them hammering in the background. It's just amazing. Huge complex. There's all these hidden stairways. You don't know whether you should go down them or not. Often it's dark. But yeah, this is a crypt that I've just come in. So I'm not sure if I've already mentioned, but this also was another convent. I'm speechless, right? That doesn't often happen. It really reminds me of Pompeii, because Pompeii was covered in volcanic ash. This wasn't destroyed from a volcano, it was destroyed from an earthquake, but it's the same sort of feeling. And I'm no good about remembering dates or history, but it's got that same era about it. Well, that was the end of Antigua, and with my new group we went into a larger minibus, first of all past Guatemala City, which was really congested, and then on the open road. Our destination now was Honduras, so stick around and you'll see Honduras. Finally, after lots of driving, we come across to the border. Very simple border, very simple buildings. But before we knew it, here we are in Honduras. And it's been beautiful scenery. The drive was absolutely amazing and quite varied with hills and farmlands, etc. So literally an hour into Honduras and already we've seen a cool. Have a look at this. So we've actually arrived at our destination. This is Copan Ruinas, and we're here, you guessed it, to see ruins. It was a lovely small town, very, very hilly, and I'll share some more of that with you shortly. So we're going to try a sweet corn tamal. It's a local dish here in Copan.
It's hot too. I think
so we eat it with coffee.
So these ladies are selling. These ladies here are selling tortillas. So that's my group behind me there, and just talking to the lady selling the corn tamal and the tortillas. She sells between 500 and 600 tortillas a day, so how's that for a record? And it's all handmade. Good morning, it's bright and early in Copan in Honduras. Now I arrived here late yesterday afternoon after a really long drive from Antigua. And it's been really nice just sort of watching this township wake up. Now the only reason Copan even really exists as a tourist destination is because of the Copan ruins, and I'll be going to see that just a little bit later. But this Copan River is really the lifeblood of the area because it gives them water for their farming and also gravel for their roads. And I'll show you some of the roads as I walk along because they're really quite difficult to walk on. Not only is the surface pretty rough, but they're super, super steep. I'm just walking back into town. The street's not quite as steep as the one I came down. Still steep enough first thing in the morning. So this is how steep the roads are. So they're repairing that road up there. And look how steep it is. And I've got to walk up there. Yeah. And as you can see, there's a lot of men here with the traditional Honduras cowboy hats on. They're really very cool. And as I've been walking around, everybody has said Buenos Dias. that is good morning. So here we are in another tuk-tuk. This one's in Japan, and as you can see, the roads are super bumpy.
Really hilly, huh?
Really, really steep.
Predates Chichen Itza by centuries, and that century is known by archaeologists as the...
So we just had a bit of an overview and a discussion on the other Mayan sites. So I've been to Tikal, I've been to Palenque, I'm at Copan at the moment. So, and there's the timeline. So 100 back to 1000. Wow, that's pretty cool. Some may not have mentioned, I'm at the Copan ruins of the Mayan Centre. So they think there was probably about 25 to 35,000 people living here. Yeah, so they haven't restored, this is just, they've unearthed
No, you could,
the
but
ruins.
if you're going to use it for a long term...
And there's a difference between restored and reconstructed. So reconstructed is they'll find stones and try and work out where they came from, whereas restored is just sort of refresh it basically. So this is natural, this is how it is when they found it, so all the pieces have fallen down.
By the way, her work is when this was elaborated. And carvings of this type serve one single purpose in Copan, and is to celebrate calendrical cycles. And it was there available. This was
Yeah, it
never
wasn't
intended
actually a
to be
staircase.
the way to go upstairs.
Inscriptions on all
So
these
staircase,
layers.
it is hard to decipher. The inscription here had suffered a lot of damage, but one other problem is that the staircase was reconstructed.
And that was fantastic. We were there for a couple of hours. It was really interesting. Then head off another tuk-tuk ride to another brilliant destination. Have a look at this. So we're now in the breeding sanctuary for the macaws. So there's quite a few enclosures here and quite a few different birds. Beautiful. You're beautiful. There you are. So the macaws were actually endangered. There were very, very few around, and they started this centre, and basically they were breeding them, and chicks that may not have survived were put in a situation where they would survive. So we spent quite a while wandering around just looking at all the different birds, and I'm just going to share just a few of them with you because, yeah, there was heaps of birds. Goodness me. So Copan's not all that big, but there was time for another adventure, and a few of us took off through the beautiful scenery. Now, we did have a private driver. We were in a ute. Guess what? He was only 14 years old. So we've come to these lunar hot springs. and I've been soaking for the last like 2.5 hours, but I didn't have my camera out. So now I've finished soaking. I'll just give you a little tour around. It's an amazing place. Initially I thought maybe a little overpriced. It was $40 US, but it was an hour to get here on quite a rough road in the ute. And yeah, we've easily spent 2.5 hours here, so I think well worth the money. So the first thing you see is the river, and I'm not sure if it's going to come out, but there's steam coming out of that waterfall. And there's Yan sitting on the rock, who's part of our group. So only 4 of us from Intrepid came out to do this today. And to get to all the fun pools, you've got to go over this bridge. And that's down the water. So here we've got the mud, and that girl's very kindly let me take a photo of her. So I'm having to use other people because we've all finished swimming and I didn't have my camera. They didn't seem to mind. It's a bit tricky when you don't have Spanish. And as you can see, super, super hot. It's over 90 degrees, this water coming down here. And there's a little pool that you can swim in. It's much cooler. So I have to say that these were the most beautiful hot springs that I'd ever been to, and definitely a place with more pools than anywhere that I'd been. Now you might remember if you watched my previous video that I have been to hot springs previously. Morning. Just finished our last night in Honduras, and what a quick visit. Yeah, only a couple of nights, but we got to see the ruins and went to those amazing hot pools, and of course the macaw birds. So it's been wonderful spending time in Honduras, short as it was. And I'm on to my next country in Central America. So thanks so much for watching this video. I love that I'm getting some comments and some thumbs up, so keep doing it. And until next time, when I continue my Central America trip, bye for now.